Welcome. Thank you for everybody that's in the chat room that's here. All my great seniors are here, and Tim W. Tim W. is a senior as well. Thank you very much for all being here. I got to tell you, this past week, as every other week has been going past, has been absolutely wunderbar. Lots of great stuff happening. I made a boo-boo. I forgot to change the 15 over. This is the right one, right? Yeah, okay. But today's is pro webinar for the midweek. It's still webinar 727. I got a lot of boo-boos today. Sorry. So appreciate all your patience. We're joined today by Mike Ficca.
Good afternoon, guys.
And we have a lot of stuff to discuss. We're going to make this a very quick video today, very quick webinar. I want to let you off the hook. That's basically it. There's nothing else. We're just doing lots of good work now. Here we go. Ready? Okay. We're going to talk about two main things today. Spreads that are on their way and getting better as time goes on. You'll see what that means in a moment. Talking about money, education and trade assistance only, and all results may vary. I have to say this before I move on. I always kid around about the lawyers always giving me crap about not reading the whole thing. And it's a love-hate relationship. But the legality is it's simple, that there is a lot of work to do, okay? And when we have to build and do a lot of different things, I wear a lot of different hats, and one of them is I'm not a lawyer, okay? But I'm also not a fiduciary, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not any of those things, because I've never valued to go and do those things for me. I might be those things in the future, but I'm not them now. And now we got to add that to the list of things to disclose, that I'm not a fiduciary, which sounds really awkward, and I'm not a financial advisor. But to seek the advice of either one of those before you start trading in Nadex or in Forex or anything in that matter. You know, when you go to the bathroom, make sure you contact your lawyer. Hopefully that filled in, right? Good. There's a private joke in there too, by the way. All right, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about spreads on Nadex. And this is huge because something has happened. Hang on one second. Something has happened that's pretty important. And might bear witness to some of what happened in just a recent brainstorming session that him and I were doing. And when certain things happen with me, when I see a pattern, when I see a process happening, you have to understand a little bit about me first before you know how some of these programs kind of come to bear. And one of the things that you'll hear from me a lot is that sometimes I'll pause. I'm not doing it out of dramatic effect. I'm actually compartmentalizing my thoughts to try to focus on what we're talking about because there's 1,000,001 different things trying to vie for my time. You'll also hear me stammer a few times on wording only because I'm calculating all these different processes in my head at the same time. I know that sounds really weird. But Mike has seen this a lot, and my family sees it a lot. I'm not some idiot savant, okay? I'm not trading in my brain with, you know, automatically. This isn't phenomenon, right? This is when I see a pattern or a process, my mind goes into fix it, troubleshooting. How can I fix a pattern? Where does it fail? Where does it succeed? And those things. And I find this very easy for me because I've done it a lot. It wasn't something I was born with. It was something that I produced over a long period of time, being able to recognize the patterns on things that needed to be fixed, right? I'm a professional fixer, if you will, not in the sense that you might think either, right? Don't call me if you got anybody dead in your trunk. Even though just as I said that and taking a sip of coffee, I started fixing your problem right there. So if you do have someone dead in your trunk, give me a call. I'll help you fix it. But there's a part of this process of learning how to find solution within the pattern of trading and building these networks. Now, do they always pan out? And the answer is no, because when we take a snapshot of what the market looks like, we're looking at a particular time period of 1 to 2 to maybe 5 months at any one time. And what does it look like at that time? It might be really high success, right? And then it drops down. And if we're taking a snapshot of this area, we're looking at a very low success rate, and we might miss opportunities. So we have to kind of step back and take a broader macro look of where's the top and where's the bottom. How far does it go down when it's not doing good, and how far does it go up before it starts to hit off the base? Everything comes back to that up-down binary, right? And what does that start to look like? Looks like the pattern of the market, right? How many wins you have to how many losses you have. The drawdown is a down in the market. You know, that's called the drawdown when you're winning and you're doing your progression, right? This is the drawdown of how far it will drop in losing. You know, you don't want to drop down to 0 because now you're in the lost money, right? And that's how we begin to see some of these patterns. Now, we all know that data is one of the most important things to our success, right? Look what it's built. It's built the daily, it's built intraday, it's built SR Max, it's built these things. So when in testing, like a reversal on the SR Max or any other process, it's all a matter of the timing. Brad Beckham has been instrumental on testing out the SR Max system and reversal system. And I know with some small issues that have been happening and some figuring out stuff, you know, it's all about timing. And Brad's only one person doing it at a particular time. So I'm adding on a few other people that are going to help out with doing the reversals on the SR Max. But the data that we've arrived from that position, as well as some of the other data that we've compiled, led us to someplace just recently. And when we found a certain pattern in Forex, we noticed that there was a high probability of success. I'm sorry. Okay, that when it reached a certain pattern, it was going to continue on in that direction, and we had this availability, right? And just recently, in finding this pattern, and with that 83% success rate, we knew immediately, as a division of our Citi Investments, that we needed to build a system to be able to house that, and that was the DEX-FX system, right? Because we need to keep Forex, trading Forex, separate from trading signals, from DEX signals. And the reason being, is you got to ask the lawyers, is legality. So I'm keeping them all separate for now. Mike and I got on the phone the other day, and I was showing him how the trading pattern, right? Showing him the trading pattern and how it all works and the process, and he bare witness to the aha moment. And Mike, maybe you want to fill them in on the aha moment.
This is for the Forex part, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Forex is to the spreads.
Right. We were looking at the Forex, and he was showing me exactly how a trade was happening, and he's already developed the system, and we're just perfecting it now. And we get a signal, and sure enough, he goes, "This is where we're going to get in right here, Mike. You're going to set your blah blah blah." It drops within 30 minutes. We make the money, but he kept going back and going back and going back, and then he's like, he goes quiet. He kept going back, and then you hear and then go back and and then all of a sudden he goes, oh my God, I got to go. I said, well, before you go, tell me what you're looking at. He says, I just came up with a spread system that's going to be unbelievable. And that was it. I was like, holy cow. I mean, just like that, we're just looking at data, and he sees patterns. You know, it's like he just sees, you know. I mean, when you're into this enough times, you can feel what the market's going to do. Max sees the big picture. And sure enough, he came up with he's coming up with a spread system that's going to be pretty phenomenal.
And he's absolutely right. The troubled part is that doesn't always happen to that kind of perfection. It doesn't always line up. It's usually hours and hours and sometimes days and days of, I wonder, let me look, let me test. But this is the best part about being a part of a company that has an owner and other people that are in there that are thinking of nothing but how to improve the network and how to make it best for all of you, right? Now, some companies, they have this little trick that they do, that they keep changing stuff around because they want you to keep around, wait for the next new thing that's going. And I know that kind of looks like what we're doing sometimes, but it absolutely is not. As you know, as a company that's transparent, we are here trying to, because we have a lot of stuff that's been there the whole time. Dailies, the intradays, the newer intradays have been there now for close to 6 months now. The SR Max has been there for some time now. A 5-minute series on the MDM as well as Trader's Mind series has been there forever. The new MDM has just really been really super strong. Indicators have been solid with their same standard indicators. The SR still very super powerful. I didn't even release a new SR yet on that stuff. You know, evolving is the word. Absolutely, Paul. It sounds like a part of that's what the Grease song should have been, right? Evolving is the word. Sorry, bad joke. But there is a part of this process that I begin to see is how can we do more in Forex and start working with Forex, but how can we eventually come back and work with us here in Dex Signals? Now remember, since I have to keep this separate, right? I have to keep this separate from the rest of the Dex Signals. How can we apply it to Dex Signals? Well, the pattern that happens gives us an 83% opportunity, right? And I'm talking 83% because when we did the work with it, I was able to take this strategy, okay? And you know that we don't just test a day or two. We tested the last month with this process on 10 pairs. These were the 10 pairs that were out there, right? That we normally use, and the ones that are on Nadex, you know. We tested on the 10 pairs, and every single pair, if I added them all up, however many pips, okay, for the month, came out to be 1,385 pips in 1 month, right? 1,385 pips in 1 month. We had 55 trades we got into, 46 wins, 9 losses.
Wow.
Okay. The highest loss was a loss for minus 28 pips. So what is this? What is this called? The lowest loss, the drawdown. This is the lowest loss that was in that system. Could it be more? No. Why? Because we set all of our stop losses. We don't get into a trade if a stop loss is more than 30 pips. That's what the pattern was. We stay away from anything that's a 30 pip loss or more. And for every stop loss that's set at a pip ratio of 30 pips or less, right? So we don't get into them if they're like 1 pip. There's no trades in there that do that. I think the smallest trade thing was like 12 pips. So your stop loss is set at 12 pips loss or a take profit of 12 pips. We're in R11, right? That's what we're doing here. Now, when this happened, when I developed the system out and I started to push it even further, we went back the second month. Let me get back over here again. And on the second month, we did $1,745, or 1,745 pips, sorry. We did 61 trades and 3 losses. I'm sorry, 61 trades. It was 58 and 3. And I didn't calculate that here on this sheet here. I'm sorry. So 58 divided by 61. Oh, damn it. Divided by 61. I did it again. Sorry, today is a very 61. There it is. 95%. Now, this was a very unique process in here because I had learned from doing the first month. Now, this is back testing, right? This is back testing. But listen, it back tests in such a way, I back test now in such a way that I do what we call forward testing, right? So we inch it along and we see where the setups happen. I don't just go back and look where it would have been proven or not proven and kind of steer away from that. I look at transparency. I have to have this thing real, right? So that's 95% success rate there. If you add the 2 months in, okay, you have over 3,000 pips in 2 months. Now, we all know that that's important, but why is it important to you? Because this is Forex. This is Forex, right? Well, because of spreads. And spreads on Nadex are very important, but these are going to take a little bit of timing, right? Because Forex, you're just going to go now, right? And you're going to go until it hits it's either hits its number, okay? Called one cancels the other. It's either going to hit your take profit or hit your stop loss, okay? Or somewhere in between, you're going to get a notification to say, hey, get out. You know, in that mentality, you're going to do something. You're going to stop it out for the end of the day. You're going to do whatever. But in spreads, you know, you have a time period, right? You either have a 2-hour block, or I think it's like a 4-hour. Let me run over. I gotta set my There we go. There's that. Share screen. Ah, oh crapo. I'm gonna see if I can do this now. I don't know if I could do this right now. I'm downloading my. I had to upgrade my thing. Let's see if that worked. Desktop. Oh, it's not. Okay, there it is. Yes, I'm gonna have to cancel out that. Do that. Click on this. This is a pain in the butt to do live. I do apologize. Open.
So Max was saying something about, you know, it seems like we're doing a lot, and the ultimate goal for DEX ever since I started with the company, and Paul, you can be attest to this, was for us to go Forex. That was the old for us to reach the Forex market, and we are so close. It's incredible. Max is super excited, man. He's like a little kid at Christmas.
Exactly. Thor, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Are you selling the upper strike and buying the lower strike in a flat market, or are you buying the upper strike in a volatile market?
Condor?
Well, yeah, something to that effect. Kid in a sweet shop. I remember sweet shops when I was a kid. Like my family always called it that because they're European.
Chuckles.
We are buying we're looking for movement, right? Because in spreads you need movement. You can't just be. This isn't setting in like an iron condor and a standard binary. This is setting a spread, and you need movement because movement equals money, right? So we want the movement. We want it to move at a certain level to get the money we need. So seriously, looking at the different times that are. Did you see that? I immediately went to 5-minute binaries. Thanks, Mike.
I'm sorry.
These are binaries. Here's the spreads. In the spreads themselves, there are. Like in the Audi JPY, there's only the daily 3 p.m. The Audi USD has a 10 to 12, which is 2-hour, right? And then, of course, we have another 2-hour that's set up. Every hour, a new 2-hour comes up. I didn't hit refresh here, so that's probably gone now. Yep, there it is. Okay, so 11 to 1, 12 to 2, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., right? So this is an intraday, daily here. So 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., that's what, 9 hours? Or, yeah, 9, is it? 8 hours. So there's an 8-hour spread, and then there's a daily spread, right? So a little bit after 3, I think it's like 3:30, 4 o'clock, a new daily will come up. So whatever that is, right? Now each one, okay, if you've never dealt with spreads before, each one has its own pip spread between them, right? On a 2-hour spread, you see it's only 100 pips in difference. Now, in a spread, there is a floor and a ceiling, the higher number being the ceiling, the lower number being the floor. So wherever the current market price is, 7672, okay, you can kind of see that right there. That sets the, where if I click onto this one and I wanted to do, say, like a sell, right, because I'm on the sell side right now, I just click on the sell side. I would have to put my price in there, what I want to be able to take it as this order comes in. And I'll have training on how to do all of this, right? But basically, it comes down to one very important process here in doing spreads. If there's a top and the bottom, remember, so this is a time period, right? This is a 2-hour block. We're just going to look at the 2-hour one right now, right? And we get a signal that comes out, and we tell you, okay, we want you to do a sell, and from current price. If you get the one that's at the higher band, right? Because you have 3 bands here. It kind of looks like this. This is that first one, this is that second one, and then there's that third one. So there is, and these are 100 pip distance, right? So if the price is up here within this top band, and we tell you to do a sell, okay, you're going to go down here at this point, right? And it's up to the 80% way up there, right? So the distance between the ceiling and the floor for this particular piece it's 100 pips, right? So each pip's $1. Okay, so every time it goes down a pip, you're making $1. Every time it goes up a pip, you're losing $1. And it's if you take the sell position. Now, the cool thing is that if you were to get it really close, if you were to get it right into the middle, right? Like say the current price is right in the middle of this band, it's $50 either side. It's a $50 risk to make $50. If it's up towards the top and it's say at 80% of the way through, you're going to spend $20. You're going to risk $20 to have a potential to make 80. Does that make sense? And it's the same thing if this band is 250 pips wide or 200 pips wide. The distance between the ceiling and the floor, wherever you get in, your risk is what you pay now. So if your risk is way close to the top of the ceiling and you're doing a sell, we got a good signal for a sell, this is the best one to get into. But in some cases, it's not always right there at that prime level. Some cases it might be at the 50% level, right? It might be right in the middle. So you might be risking $50. Or on a $250 one, it might be right in the middle. You might be risking $125 to make a possible $125, right? But remember, this is per one contract. This is not like binaries of getting into a binary process like that. So when you have an opportunity, you have to know which band to get into. Sometimes the current price is out of the money a little bit, right? So you don't get anything. You'll have to pay the pip, the bid offer spread. You'll have to risk that, which will be $4 or $5. And then once it penetrates the market and starts to go into the process, because it might be all the way up here, that's when you start making your money. And that's where we're going to try to get most of these signals for this process to you, is being outside the ceiling or below the floor. So there's very little in the way of risk.
So cool.
But then there's also plenty of opportunity, there's also plenty of opportunity that you want to take getting right in the middle of it. Why? Because there's going to be more opportunities like this than anything else. Right? Because it may not move down, or it might just move just enough into it to be able to pull it out. But you want to have the opportunity to get the most bang for your buck. And we're going to show you that. We're going to teach you that within this process. And why this is so important is because for once you begin to get the process of learning how to use Nadex, spreads is the best opportunity for the most value on money, right? So your R values are more valued, that you get to choose them and really get to work with that. And this is where a lot of people get into the second stage of their trading life with Nadex. No, we're not using Forex binaries to trade. We're using the spreads to trade. There's a difference. These are the binaries, and these are spreads. Spreads use a different mentality. We're using Forex, okay? But a binary is different than a spread. A binary you can win or lose. A spread has many different variables. There's multiple levels of winning and losing, right? Because watch this. This is the beautiful part about spreads. Is that, let's say we're just going to isolate one band, right? One statement here. okay? And the current price is right here when the signal comes out, right? And we call for a sell. And so when this comes out, you're right around, say, let's just say $30 of risk. You're risking $30. This is a 100 pip band, a 100 pip statement. And the market comes in and starts to go down, okay? And you get to a certain point, because the market's always going up or down and doing all this kind of stuff, right? So, but the market comes in and drops down. In the statement that we're going to give you what we call the stop loss, which is usually going to be set pretty close to this ceiling side, right? Because really, this is an automatic stop loss, isn't it? Like, so if it comes in and goes like this, you're not going to lose more than 30 bucks, right? Unless you were down here when it came out and you're taking the wrong contract. You're taking the wrong contract. There's just too much risk here. You're not going to make any money, right? So you got to know which one to get into. So let's just say you come out and it's $30 risk. You have about $30. You have $70 profit possibility here, but we're not going to go at the whole 70, right? Because the market's going to move to a certain degree and always return and do something else, right? So we want to speculate what that's going to be. So we're going to give you a stop loss, which is usually right around in here. Sometimes it might be like in things like this, right? You might be right in that area, right? So you're going to get a different stop loss. Now, this is not going to be in the form of pips, but whatever it is, it's going to be in a number. There's going to be a pip from current price, which will be CP, okay, and then take profit. Okay, so we're going to call the current price, which is right here, the stop loss, which will be somewhere above you, right? If it's a sell, it would be below you if it's a buy. And we're going to have a take profit. Usually, every single time, it's going to be the exact same pip amount from your stop loss to current price is your current price to take profit, and this is called an R1, right? Risk to reward value 1-to-1. Because if this is 16 pips, this will be 16 pips possibility profit, right? Right. So the availability here now is and this is for one contract. This is per contract. So if you're risking $30 per contract, when you do two, you're risking 60. Okay. But you might be paying attention to stop yourself out at 16 pips, right? So you might have $30 available here to go, but you're only risking 16, right? Or this could be 30, right? Because I'm never going to put a signal out more than 30 pips for a stop. But this might be 25 with a take profit of 25, right? So that 25 might fall right into here. You could choose to let it risk out to the rest of it. That's completely up to you. But the point is that you have an opportunity now to make $25 here. Right? So sometimes, and this is the best part about it, right? Sometimes you could put a take profit, you could put the take profit order, or you could do it manually at this point. There's no stop loss system directly on Nadex. I hear they're working on one. And I know Apex and all those other companies have these stop loss systems out there for Nadex, but we don't have that. But you have to pay attention. But you automatically have a stop loss at this highest level here, right? But you can pay attention to this process. And it takes time, but you can pay attention to it. Now, the best part about the spread is watch this. This is a 2-hour block in here, right? And we know what happens with regular Forex market. If it hits that stop loss, it's going to take it, isn't it? And you're out of the trade. You're done. Well, what happens if it pierces this level here? It doesn't matter. You're not going to lose $40 now. You're not going to lose $60 now. You're only losing the 30. That's why I don't like stop losses on Nadex. Stop losses are imperative on Forex. Absolutely imperative. You should never do a trade without a stop loss. You can do them without take profits, but never do one without a stop loss. Ever, 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 ever. Okay. So if you get into the right trade, if you get into the right statement, if you're the one right in the middle and it's like 65 up and 65 down and or whatever, right? Or it's 50 up or 125 down and 125 up. You might want to pay really close attention to where this is going once it starts to get up. What I really like about this process on the spreads is that one of my favorite parts is that if it pops up here during this time, it does one of these numbers all day long, right? And you're like, all right, I ain't winning nothing. And it does this. Guess what? You won. As long as it goes past that current price, you go all the way down. If it takes your take profit at that point, you can go all the way down, right? Same truth on the other side. There's this bad, there's good. You could do one of these numbers. You're like, look at all that money I won. Then it goes like this. Or comes down here, does one of these numbers, plays with your mind all day, and does that, right? Now, the cool thing is, it could go like this all day long and come back down in here, and you could break it even. You could stop anywhere in this line, and you're only out that amount, right, by the time it expires. So you have to pay attention to this stuff. Spreads are very powerful. Mike and I yesterday, we did a part of the process is that if you have a nice big statement, this is why is it important to know to get into one with a very short risk value, but plenty of room to get down here with, even an out of the money risk, okay, to go into that statement. Because if you get it close enough, it doesn't have to move very far. But you got to watch the pip spread. You got to watch that bid to ask spread, bid offer spread in there, because it has to move a certain amount, you know, for it to go, it has to move pretty far to get into that. So you want something as close to that ceiling as possible without trying to go too far out of it, right? Because you want movement. Because you'll lose $4 or $5 in that process, sometimes even a little more. The concept for you here, though, is that when we give you this information, you can decipher this information to a ceiling or a floor, depending on the direction. Of course, you already know the current price, and a take profit, because that's how much movement it's going to do. Okay, when it does its thing, we know that usually the best values are our value. Will it go on? Yes. And if you have room enough, okay, let's say now, let's change this up just a little bit. Okay, let's say now you have, this is the 2 hour, this is a 2 hour or the 4 hour trade in there, right? This is the 4 hour. What was that? Was that 4 hours? Let's see here, 7, 8. This is the 8 hour, right? And it's 250 pips. Is it 250? Nope. Each statement is 200 pips. Hang on. So let me get rid of this. This is an 8 hour trade. If you were to get in right in the beginning, if the signal came out right in the beginning of it, right? This would be an 8 hour. So let's just say you get right in. This is your current price right here. Okay, and this is 200 pips wide, right? So you have 100 up here and you have 100 down here, right? 200 pips. So you get in for one contract, you're risking $100. Okay, so you get in for one contract, you're risking $100, but you have the potential to make 100. Okay, signal comes out, gives you a stop loss that's from the current price, which let's just say it's 25 pips up, and then you got the current price, which you already know, and you got to take profit of 25 pips down, because we're going to call this a sell, right? And you're getting it right in the middle here. If you're able to do this, if you're able to get right into the middle, and you have a lot of movement happening, you have a good opportunity. That's great. Okay, but you want some room too. If you can get one that has a little bit more room, like we were talking about before, this is your best opportunity. Okay, so let's just say this is 25 pips. Now, because it's 100 pips on either side, you're only going 25. We're only going a little bit. So if it hits just 25 up here, you're done. Get out. You know, save. You didn't spend $100. That's the beauty part about it. If you get out, if it goes up 25 pips and it hits a number that you put in there, if you say, okay, if it gets to 1.075 and it hits that number, you get out. Pay attention to it. Get out immediately. How much did you lose? Well, you lost 25 bucks. That's all you lost. You didn't lose the 100. You got to put the $100 up, because in case it does like road candle your ass, you got to pay attention. Okay? That's why you got to try to get up as close as you can. Your stop loss, you try to get that as close to the ceiling as possible, or the floor if it's a buy. Now, here's the strategy on the opposite end. If you want to do this strategy, you're going to need to do something unique. You're going to have to do what we call even trading. And even trading is that you have to have at least 2 contracts on. And this is beautiful because if you hit your stop loss, get out on both accounts, you lose $50. I get that, right? But watch this. You put on the 2 trades, your 2 contracts, right? And you put a take profit in here, not for 2 contracts, but for 1 contract. And you let this thing do what it's going to do, right? So current price comes out, there's one of these numbers comes down, hits your take profit, buys you out of 1, you just made $25, right? You just made 25 on the 1 contract. And then it does this number. Now how much did you win? Well, if it only came down 25 and this is 100 and 100, that means that this thing took off for 75 more pips, right? On 1 contract. So you just now won $100 in that process. Now, once that happens, once you create another R value of 25 down there, you keep going down every 25 pips. You start paying attention to this. That if it decides that it starts to go back up again, get out and break even, take some profit margin, scalp this out, do whatever you want with it. In Forex, I would only set these R values at whatever the base value is. So if it's 25, I would set a marker at 25, 50. I wouldn't have one at 75, of course, because I don't have three on. I'm only doing doubles. And I have an opportunity to do 25 pips on the first trade, on the first contract or lot, and then an extra 25 on the second, which is actually 50. So 25 plus 50 is 75 pips I would have won on that trade. It's our second R value hits. And with that money management process, there's a lot of opportunity. That's hit maybe not as much as you want, but that's really basically a free trade, because what I do is that I move my stop loss mentality up to break even, or a little bit into break even, to match the spread. So I'm always winning $2 or $3 on top of that if it just blanks out, if it just stops. So spreads are going to be a wonderful solution to a lot of you. I won't say technical traders. This isn't a button push, right? This isn't just push a button and see you later. Now, in Forex it will be, but with Nadex is a little bit different. Okay? The biggest opportunity for you, choose the right statement and how to choose. That's where all your training is going to go into. It's taking the information that we provide in an email, the stop loss and the take profit, and being able to convert that into your plan on a spread and how to choose that. And that's where all the training is going to come in. Right? Spreads do have a large amount of opportunity. They have more. We're going to do a little overview here. More to get into the best, what you're gonna be risking. Okay, it takes a little bit more to get in, but they're going to be less risk. Even though that you're putting your ass on the line with a large amount, like if this is the spread, so you get in the middle and you have 100 up here and 100 down here. Okay, you're risking $100 up here. If you get like that rogue candle just goes crazy, yeah, absolutely. So don't ever get into anything you can't afford to lose. But if you pay attention to the process, if you really watch, you stay on top of it, you can save yourself some anguish, right? Because we all know there's rogue candles in this process. It's on the take profit side that you have to pay attention to. You could set a take profit and get to that point. We've covered that. Okay. So I'm also going to show you some tools in the training system in there on how to use some of their, I think, because we can set stuff up on their charts as well, and I can show you some of those things that works well with that, with Nadex charts on it. Okay. The signals will be performed and delivered in an email first. This is how we're going to deliver them. You're going to get them in an email. I know that sounds weird, but we're talking 8-hour trades, 7-hour trades, 3-hour, 4-hour, 2-hour trades. You got some time to get into them, but you got to move quickly, and you got to do your homework first. You got to look which one to get into. You just can't run and try to find a number and fake it through it. You got to pay attention to how much room you got and all that stuff, and they're very easy to find. Don't let anybody tell you spreads are so complicated to find. No, they're not. You just have to know there's a floor and a ceiling to it all, and you have to just pay attention to when you get in. I will have the training for you to be able to use that. I wanted to put this max thought out to all of you because in anything that you're doing, building a portfolio takes time, and that's what you're doing right now. You're building a portfolio. Some of you can use daily, some of you use intraday, some of you use the 5-minute MDM, some of you use whatever, to trade with. But it takes time, and you have to find what you're really good at. If you found what you're really good at, stick with it. You don't have to get into spreads just because they seem more appeasing. If you're making money with what you're doing, don't switch. Stick it out. Right? This is where it differs for other companies. Everybody wants you to buy the next new thing. I don't want you to buy into anything. I want you to focus on what is, if it's making you, if something's making you money, stay with it. If it has a drawdown and you see the grass is greener on the other side, trade with it in demos, see if it really is. Don't switch over live accounts, don't do all that kind of stuff. Stay with what you know. Because it's not what you have done. It's what you're about to do now. That is the most important thing. What you lost in the past, what hurt you in the past, has fueled you to be where you're at right now. But what you're about to do is what's going to set you apart from every other trader. You have to begin to see your value in what you're doing right now. And I think most of you do. The ones that are definitely in this room do. The ones that are watching after the fact are the ones that I'm really referring to. If you're watching this on YouTube right now and you're wondering, wow, spreads are going to be awesome and I'm going to kill it, get in and practice them. You'll learn them. This service is going to come out over the next week. We're going to try to release it by April 1st. Okay? I'm pretty sure that most of it's done right now. I just have to go in and just make sure everything's tested, and then we're golden. Right? All right. At this time, as always, Mike, thanks a lot for hanging out, being part of my testament.
My pleasure, Max.
For everybody else that's watching this after the fact, thank you so much for getting to this part of the video. I tried to make it as short as I possibly could. Got a little wild on the spreads because I'm very excited. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop or in a candy store, whatever you want to call it. But we have a lot of great stuff about to come. With the Forex side of it, there's going to be a lot of more people on board with the spread system. I think a lot of you are going to be very, 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 very happy with spreads. But most of you need to learn how to do all the things you need to do to be able to get to that point. There's a lot of information you got to cover. All right, I'm Max Farrow. This is Dex. For everybody in the room, hang out. We'll do a quick questions and answers. Everybody else, take care. And as always, trade well.